Sometimes there is an alchemy that happens when you play a game. You read the rules or hear someone explain them to you and you think, what? You think, there's no bloody game here. Often it's when the rules feel willfully simple. The explanation is too short. You cannot imagine how these couple of movements of your hands and a few basic calculations can result in a game. Then you actually start manipulating those few simple rules and alchemy happens. The base metal of those couple of sentences on a glossy sheet of paper cohere into the most precious of substances. Your pupils widen and your brain starts to pump out chemicals. The cardboard on the table takes on a different aspect. It transforms from printed ephemera to the origin of your pleasure. Those few components become a gateway to fun. I love this about games, and I really admire those people that can take a few elementary concepts and make human connection out of them. This is brilliant game design. The reason this is relevant to this review is that when I read the rules to Middle Ages, well, I was a little perplexed as to where the game was. Take a tile, place a tile and do some stuff. When I played it though, I was blown away by how this simple sequence could yield so much enjoyment. Middle Ages is a simple game, an almost willfully simple game, but when you start to play, alchemy happens, decisions happen, and joy happens. What I'm trying to say is that Middle Ages is bloody good. Little wonder that Middle Ages is a game that belies its simplicity. It was designed by Marc Andre, the designer of Splendor, who excels in designing simple games with incredible depth, something that seems to be losing its value in the modern gaming landscape. As the Silver Age of board games trundles along, as games become more and more referential rather than original, complication is mistaken for depth. The idea that the more rules you can cram in, then the deeper the final game will be. This is a misapprehension. The constant trips back to the rulebook doesn't mean depth, it means inelegance, something Middle Ages cannot be accused of. Middle Ages is a robust middle finger based gesture to that conception of depth. It pairs the rules back to a focus point and jabs the hypothalamus with it. This is a game that can be taught to those who've only played Candy Crush or experienced jaded gamers, and they will have a great time with it. Why? Well, because it's bloody good. Middle Ages is a tile drafting game where you add those tiles to your board, leverage special abilities for money, and you want money because money is points and points are money. Tiles are laid out in a 4x4 grid, each row being arranged in ascending numerical order by the numbers on the backs of the tiles. Players place their lords onto the tile they wish to take that round, then initiative is dictated left to right, i.e. the players furthest to the left in the row get to go first. The player takes the tile they've chosen and places their lord onto a chosen tile on the row beneath. They then add the tile they've taken to the correct column in their fiefdom board. Each type of tile has a special power. Fields give you gold for each yeoman symbol on the board, and palaces give you a token which allows you to add extra icons to the income of a given column, and in between are various powers that players can leverage. Players then gain income based upon the symbols in that particular column. Every 4th round an event is resolved, and after 16 rounds the game ends. 10 points are docked for every empty column on a player's fiefdom, and the player with the most filthy lucre wins. I play a lot of long, heavy games, so it's a joy to play something that can deliver a similar level of endorphins that doesn't take an ice age to learn and play. Games need to be as simple as they need to be and no more, and Middle Ages is spot on. The atom of a turn is so simple. Take a tile, place a tile, do the power and gain some income. This is so easy, yet the way the powers bounce off each other is brilliant game design. There is a lot going on here, but the work Marc Andre has done is to deliver a game that seems effortless. layers. There is work in the types of tiles here. There is work in the way they're distributed. There is work in the way the higher numbered tiles offer great rewards and leave you scratching your head as to whether you should eschew the advantage of initiative or not. All of this work is here to deliver an experience to the player that is knotty, engaging, and full of hard decisions. Also, there's a fair amount of take that in the game, but it's so beautifully woven in that rather than detract from the player's enjoyment, it nudges them in very satisfying directions and fosters a competitiveness that drives you through the game. You have to react to the actions of your opponent. You have to stay on your toes. To have someone repeatedly destroy your stuff can be hugely frustrating, but here is another puzzle to solve, and there is a satisfaction in developing a fiefdom that's immune from the attacks of those bastards around the table. The production here is gorgeous without being over the top, and the puzzle pieces add a utility and visual delight to your growing fiefdom. This is no mere aesthetic frippery either. The art and graphic design is clear and allows you, at a glance, to fathom what that bastard sat opposite you is planning to do next. The true attraction of Middle Ages is just how bloody accessible it is. It takes 5 minutes to explain and then you're off. It is the depth of the game, though, that makes it a true democratic choice if you're looking for a filler, because at any experience level you'll be able to extract something out of this game. Grognards definitely won't rank it in their top 10s, but they will have a bloody good time in between rounds of ASL and Triumph and Tragedy. Middle Ages is a game in which the publisher and designer have produced something that is highly respectful to the potential players. It is tactile and beautiful, but also engaging and deep. It's not very expensive and can be played in any number of situations. This is what Marc Andre does, and Middle Ages, well, it's one of his best. Firstly, I want to thank the wonderful Stephen Sirek who got me out of a hole this week and made this video possible. And I want to thank you for watching. You can like the video if you liked the video. You can sub to the channel. Down below you'll find a link to the best Discord in gaming and to my merch store where there's loads of cool stuff. You can even help to make these videos by going to patreon.com/5G4D and backing the show like these lovely people. Right, I'm off to cover myself in horse manure and catch the plague because I want to play of this game that's really thematic.